Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Chandra Bhakti-yoga Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vacharine Vishesha Shunyavaya Vishakadesha Karine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Bhakti Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 You have to translate. We will read from Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter 8, a description of the character of Bharat Maharaj, text number 9.
Значи ще четем от пета песен, 8 глава, как Махараджа Бхарата следващия живот Кала Телен, текст номер 9.
Translation, purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-vedanta Swami Prabhupada. So, this is again prose, a very long Sanskrit without verse. So, text number 9. It's a long Sanskrit prose, but you just hear it, transcendental sound, although we may not understand anything. Aho batayam harina kunaka kripana ishvara rata charana paribramana rayena svagan surit bandubhya parivarjita sharanam cha mupasharito mam eva mata pitarao bratri gyatin Yautikanshchaivo peyaya nanyam kanchana vedam ayati vishvabadaschata eva mayamat parayanasya poshana palana prinana lalanam anna suyananu nishtayam sharanyopeksha dosha vidusha. We will skip the synonyms, we'll take half an hour. Translation, long translation. The great king Maharaj Bharata began to think. Yeah, we have the same situation, Maharaj Bharata, with the deer. Being very much in love with the deer, now he begins to think.
Та же самая ситуация, Махарадж Бхарата привелся к оленю, он теперь думал об олене.
Alas, this helpless young deer, by the force of time, an agent of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has now lost its relatives and friends and has taken shelter of me.
Великий царь Бхарата думал, увы, по воле времени представителя Верховной Личности Бога, этот беспомощный олененок лишился всех своих близких и нашел прибежище у меня.
It does not know anyone but me, as I have become its father, mother, brother, and relatives.
Кроме меня он никого не знает, ибо я заменил ему и отца, и мать, и брата, и остальных сородичей.
This deer is thinking in this way, and it has full faith in me.
Он полностью доверился мне, поэтому я должен быть добр к нему и не думать, что забота о нем угрожает моему благополучию.
It does not know anyone but me, therefore I should not be envious and think that for the deer my own welfare will be destroyed.
Да, еще раз повторяется, не думать, что забота о нем угрожает моему благополучию.
I should certainly raise, protect, gratify and fondle it.
Конечно же, я обязан растить его, защищать, ласкать и исполнять его желания.
When it has taken shelter with me, how can I neglect it?
И как я могу бросить его на произвол судьбы, если он избрал меня своим прибежищем?
Even though the deer is disturbing my spiritual life, I realize that a helpless person who has taken shelter cannot be neglected. That would be a great fault.
Да, забота об олененке помешает моей духовной практике, но ведь отвергнуть беспомощное существо, которое просит у меня защиты, очень тяжкий грех.
Purport.
Комментарий.
When a person is advanced in spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness, he naturally becomes very sympathetic toward all living entities suffering in the material world.
Тот, кто развил в себе духовное сознание, сознание Кришны, проникается состраданием ко всем живым существам, что томятся в материальном мире.
Naturally, such an advanced person thinks of the sufferings of the people in general.
Для такой возвышенной души вполне естественно думать, как облегчить страдания обыкновенных людей.
However, if one does not know the cause of the material sufferings of fallen souls and becomes sympathetic because of bodily comforts, as in the case of Bharat Maharaj, such sympathy or compassion is the cause of one's downfall.
Если же человек не понимает, какие муки испытывают падшие души в материальном мире, и, подобно Махараджи Бхарате, проявляет сочувствие к близким, заботясь лишь об их телесных нуждах, такое сочувствие приведет его к падению.
If one is actually sympathetic to fallen, suffering humanity, you should try to elevate people from material consciousness to spiritual consciousness.
Тот, кто хочет по-настоящему помочь падшим, страждущим людям, должен стараться поднять их сознание с материального уровня на духовный.
As far as the deer was concerned, Bharat Maharaj became very sympathetic, but he forgot that it was impossible for him to elevate a deer to spiritual consciousness, because after all, a deer is but an animal.
Махарадж Бхарата проникся состраданием к олененку, но при этом забыл, что не сможет поднять его сознание на духовный уровень, ведь олень – это всего лишь животное.
It was very dangerous for Bharat Maharaj to sacrifice all his regulative principles simply to take care of an animal.
Пожертвовав своей духовной жизнью ради заботы о животном, Махараджа Бхарата поступил очень неосмотрительно.
The principles enunciated in Bhagavad Gita 2.15 should be followed.
Нужно всегда следовать наставлениям Бхагавад-гиты 2.15.
Yanghina vyatayantyete purusham purusharshava. Now we will go to Bhagavad Gita 2.15, see the translation. O best among men, Arjuna, the person who is not disturbed by happiness and distress and is steady in both is certainly eligible for liberation.
2.15, yes?
Yeah, 2.15.
О лучший из людей, тот, кого не выводит из равновесия радости и невзгоды, кто всегда остается спокойным и невозмутимым, воистину достоин освобождения.
Continuing with the purport, as far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone.
Заботясь о чьем-то материальном теле, мы, по сути дела, не приносим никакой пользы обладателю этого тела.
However, by the grace of Krishna, we may raise a person to spiritual consciousness if we ourselves follow the rules and regulations.
Однако мы можем по милости Кришны помочь человеку развить духовное сознание при условии, что сами будем строго следовать всем правилам духовной жизни.
If we give up our own spiritual activities and simply become concerned with the bodily comforts of others, we will fall into a dangerous position.
Если же мы оставим свою духовную практику и будем просто заботиться о материальном благополучии других, то окажемся в очень опасном положении.
So, apparently, Bharat Maharaj was conscious that he had a problem. Yes, he was not completely in illusion. He knew there was something wrong.
То есть он не был полностью в иллюзии, он знал, что что-то неправильно.
But still, of course, illusion was there.
Но иллюзия до сих пор была там.
So why? Because now he tries to rationalize his actions. You understand this word? Rationalize psychological phenomena. You try to find good reasons for what you are doing, although you know it's wrong.
То есть он пытался рационализировать то, что он делал. То есть по психологии это значит, что он старался одобрить и найти основания своим действиям.
We do this all the time, if we are honestly thinking about it.
То есть мы честно даже думаем об этом все время.
Every day.
Каждый день.
We do something we shouldn't do, but we have a good reason to do it.
Мы делаем что-то, что не должны делать, но находим очень хорошую причину, почему мы должны это делать.
If anybody dares to criticize us, we will explain why we do what we do.
Каждый
Ако някой ни критикува,
да, если кто-то нас критикует, то мы обосновываем причину, почему он не должен этого делать.
So this is now happening to Maharaj Bharata. He is speculating what the deer is thinking.
То есть сейчас Махарадж Бхарата спекулирует, о чем думал олень.
So he says, the deer is thinking in this way, and it has full faith in me. But how do you know what the deer is? If the deer is thinking, we don't even know whether a deer is thinking. Probably not, really. They may feel pain and pleasure, but to think, very doubtful.
Значит, Махарадж Бхарата думал, вот как думал олень, может быть, он испытывал страх. Но это спекуляция, потому что олень может испытывать чувство страха, удовольствия, но он, скорее всего, он даже не может думать, то есть, по крайней мере, мы не знаем.
And he, he's imagining that the deer is looking at him like its father, mother, brother, relatives.
То есть он воображал, что олень смотрел на него как на родственника, как на отца, как на мать, на других родственников.
That's actually only Krishna's position. To be our father, mother, brother, relative, whatever.
Это позиция Кришны. Быть отцом, матерью, родственником кому-то.
That is in Bhakti-yoga Thakur's song Manasa Deha Geha. There he says, you are for me my father, mother, lover, friend, and so practically you are everything to me.
Когда говоришь, что ты для меня все, отец, мать, любимый человек, друг, все для меня.
And that's true because Krishna responds to devotees' feelings, and one can have Krishna in any way one wants, and he will reciprocate.
И это действительно так, потому что Кришна отвечает на желания преданных и на все отношения, то есть он и исполняет все желания.
But he is now imagining that he has this position in relationship to the deer.
Но сейчас Махарадж Бхарата воображает, что он в той позиции к оленю, вот как Кришна получается.
Well, he thinks the deer doesn't know anyone but me. I'm the all in all for this deer, which is maybe true.
Он говорит, что этот олень не имеет никого, кроме меня. Я все по отношению к этому оленю.
So therefore, there's a good reason I have to raise it, protect it, now also gratify it, fondle it, and do all the things he was doing.
И это хорошо, чтобы я делал все для него, защищал, заботился о нем, ласкал его и так далее.
So now, and he knows, even though the deer is disturbing my spiritual life, so he knows that.
И даже если этот олененок побеспокоит мою духовную жизнь, он знал об этом.
But it's a helpless, and it has taken shelter of me. So, what to do? It's a dilemma, you can say.
Но он как бы опирается на меня, я должен заботиться о нем. И он понимал это, но это дилемма. Что делать?
Yeah, what is the dilemma? You have a choice, and whatever you choose, it's bad.
И какая дилемма? То есть у вас есть выбор, что бы вы не выбрали, это плохо.
As I say in English, between a rock and a hard place. You understand this?
Yes, in Russian we have
So good.
Между двух зол выбрать. По-английски это по-другому звучит.
So if you go in front, there's the rock, and if you go back, there's a hard place, which is also a rock. You're between two rocks. So what do you do?
То есть между камнем и стеной, то есть куда бы ни пошел, ты везде упрешься.
So generally, what we do, we choose the lesser of the two evils. That's right.
И обычно мы выбираем меньше из двух зол.
So now he said at the end, to neglect here this deer would be a great fault.
Neglect?
Yeah, to not care of it.
Да пренебрегнешь.
Значит, он сказал, что если пренебрегнуть заботой об олененке, это будет большее зло.
Which means it's worse than sacrificing my spiritual life.
И поэтому меньше это
больше плохое, чем духовная жизнь.
Да, более плохо, чем духовная жизнь, да.
So this, from a material point of view, is actually a very good sentiment. No? We would all agree.
И если мы посмотрим с материальной точки зрения, это очень хорошее чувство, то есть все согласятся.
It's a selfless person.
Да, потому что сохраняем личность, сохраняем существо.
Sacrificing everything to save this and take care of this poor animal.
И все скажут, что это очень хорошо, что бедное животное о нем позаботилось.
And apparently this is not approved. This is not good.
Но в принципе это не есть хорошо, то есть это не улучшает.
And if we look at the purport, not only that is not good, even if you do this with persons, human beings, it's not considered to be good.
И даже мы, если посмотрим в комментарии, то мы увидим, что это нехорошо, даже если мы это делаем для людей.
And that is again a dilemma.
И это опять дилемма.
Because we may not agree.
Почему? Потому что мы не согласны.
But how can we not agree?
А как мы не согласны?
Then we have a problem, right?
Это другая проблема, правильно?
But we don't agree.
Да, мы не согласны.
So what to do?
И что нам делать?
Or do you agree? Be honest. I don't agree. Do you
Будьте
agree?
честными. Или вы согласны?
No, we don't
Будьте
agree.
честными.
So, what's the solution?
Big dilemma.
It's a dilemma, right? Yeah. So,
Very
but
big.
very big. Oh, very big.
Очень
Great
большая
fault.
дилемма.
That's right. Very big. So, what do we do normally?
И что мы обычно делаем?
We-
Choose like Махарадж Бхарат.
Exactly.
Да, и обычно мы как Махарадж Бхарата выбираем.
Yes. And just think about this one sentence. I hope it's.
И подумайте только об этом одном
I could check
предложении.
whether it's in the original transcript, but you never know. Even the transcriber. But I guess it's true because I heard Prabhupada saying, and it's in other places. Just this one sentence, think about it. As far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone.
Начало самое время тут скажешь.
It's in the purport, just after 2:15.
Вот.
2:15 из Бхагавад-гита.
Well, after that, the sentence comes, as far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone.
Може да го правя?
Нека те ще го видим.
На български, докато материалното тяло не е поддържано, не може да се Говори за душа, духовен живот.
You see that?
Заботясь о чьем-то материальном теле, мы, по сути дела, не приносим никакой пользы обладателю.
So you take that literally, is it true?
Это правда.
Literally, verbatim.
Theoretically?
No, theoretically no, literally. As far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone.
Да.
You understand? It's very
Да.
simple
Да.
sentence.
Да. Это очень простое предложение. То есть, заботясь о материальном теле, мы не можем принести никакой пользы никому.
So is that true?
И это правда. Это истина.
Yes or no?
Да или нет?
No. Why yes? Explain.
Почему, если объяснить?
Если мы заботимся только о материальном теле, то тогда мы не приносим блага. Потому что я услышала, если мы заботимся о материальном теле, и я не услышала, что нужно прилагать усилия для заботы о духовном. Поэтому сказала да. Это я так услышала.
That's too much. She will not forget half of it.
Maybe.
Când je stau въпрос, че само да се грижи за материално тяло, това аз казах, че не.
Да, that's good. Good. She is saying that if somebody care only for the bodily necessities of the others is useless only.
Right, but that's not what this sentence says. You don't understand the sentence, or maybe it's the translation is not right.
The Russian translation is not good.
So
I don't understand also.
but just translate it as it is. As far as the material body is concerned, we have a material body. Nobody can do anything for anyone.
Аз го разбрах. Докато имаме материални тела, няма как да направим каквото и да е за някой друг.
Да.
So is that true?
Yes, it's true.
How is it
I
true?
can answer.
I also don't understand.
No, I mean...
Should be true, but I don't understand.
Maharaj is right. Check another. I'm sure Maharaj is right.
No, I'm just asking, you know.
I am agree with you.
But well, let's see facts, no? Everyday life.
But for example, for children, we need to take care for body, for their growing, and after that spiritual life.
Well, just forget about spiritual life. I just want to, you know, this sentence. Just go step by step. This sentence says, as far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone.
То есть пока мы, значи, докато състоим от материалното тяло, не можем нищо за никого да направим. Така ли беше преди?
Докато имаме материално.
So let's take the next step.
Пока мы в материальном теле, мы не можем ничего сделать ни для кого.
Okay, now you have an accident.
Например, что-то случилось.
Very simple example.
Очень простой
You
пример.
break your leg or whatever, you know.
Например, вы сломали ногу.
Or even
что-то.
worse,
Даже
something that you cut yourself in such a way that blood is coming out.
Даже какое-то чувство,
And
например, кровь
if you don't do
начинает.
anything,
Вы ничего
you
не
will just bleed to death, right?
Да, да. Если вы ничего не сделаете, то вы просто умрете.
If somebody knows what to do to stop that,
Если кто-то
you will
знает-
survive.
Если кто-то знает, как остановить кровь, то вы спасетесь.
So obviously, you can do something for somebody or not.
Обычно вы делаете что-то для кого-то или нет, честно.
Or if somebody is, I don't know, in any dangerous position, that's the most simple example to understand. You know, somebody is you could hanging from a tree, you know, because you slipped, and it's like 10 meters, right? And if you drop, probably you will break at least bones, if not your neck. Or people fall from less height and become paralyzed. It happens even to devotees.
Например, если вы увидите кого-то, кто находится прямо в опасной позиции, это видимо ясно, например, кто-то висит на дереве и 10 метров остается, и если человек отпустится и упадет, он может что-то сломать, но даже с меньшей высоты люди параличом И даже с преданными такое случалось. То есть, может,
Now, if you have nearby this camion, you know, the truck with all the hay on top, and you can drive it quickly under the hanging person and it drops into the hay, no problem, no bones broken, no paralyzed. Yeah, very simple thing.
Не съм разбрала.
Ако някой
Да кажем, че
Камион, разбрала.
от високо
You have here the truck, you have hay on it, you know.
и отидеш с трактора и той е пълен с бали, с лама
Да.
и той човек падне върху
Слама,
балите,
да.
това ще му е меко и няма да има инцидент.
Значит, если привезешь, например, грузовик с соломой, поставишь под это дерево, и человек упадет в солому, и тогда будет мягко, и он ничего с ним не случится.
So obviously you can do something for the material body. That doesn't mean you're saving the spirit soul. That's true.
Да, конечно, что-то мы можем сделать для материального тела, да, чтобы его сохранить. Но это не означает, что это для духовной жизни.
So therefore I'm saying, if we take this literally, that's the point, then it's wrong. Literally,
литературно, литературно на България.
Литературно?
Или буквално на Бога.
Буквално може, да.
Литературно, не е буквално.
Да.
Защото литературно на руски буквално,
Литературно.
да, на руски е буквально, да.
Това е
Няма
превод.
Да. Если мы возьмем это буквально,
what you understand the point that sometimes we have to be very careful how we read things, because if you read it literally, you will come to a wrong conclusion.
очень важно, как мы воспринимаем вещи, как мы читаем что-то, потому что если мы иногда читаем буквально, мы придем к неверному заключению.
I could give a lot more. This is anyway. So there's other examples of what is called hyperbole in English.
Just a moment, she asked Beta, he translate to Bulgarian and...
No, Russian please, Russian please.
Just wait.
She asked him, Beta, Nityananda Prabhu translate to Bulgarian, Namalrada translate to fluent Russian.
Okay.
It's Beta.
Yeah, I mean for me it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll try.
Yeah, I mean, you know this word hyperbole?
Hyperbolition, but I don't know the meaning.
Oh,
We have the...
very good. So let's try. You know the meaning, somebody knows the meaning. You can get a meaning from Google. I can give you the meaning, but let's take authority, you know, Google Guru. It's exaggerated figurative speech to make a point.
Ага, аз го разбрах. Това е да преувеличава значението, за да наблегнеш на важността на определен момент.
Yes, if somebody is calling you, just a second. It's not a second. It's going to be not even a minute. Maybe 5 or 10 minutes, but you say a second because it will be very soon. I'll come in a second. I'll come in a minute.
Yes.
Някой ти казва, ще дойда след секунда. Обаче, това няма да е секунда, обаче той го прави с цел да ти покаже, че ще е много скоро. Това е, или ти казва, ще дойда след минута. Той няма да дойде след минута, но стресира на този момент.
So hyperbole is very prominent. We use it without even being conscious all the time.
Висока важност.
Това, нали, тази склонност да го преувеличаваме, не да преувеличаваме, по-скоро да наблягаме. Тази склонност ние използваме постоянно през цялото време всъщност.
And that is my point. Prabhupada uses this many times.
И Шрила Прабхупада използва този похват, за да наблегне на определени моменти много пъти.
So therefore one has to be very careful when reading and taking things literally and then insisting that the Acharya is saying this, so it's the absolute truth. And if you think it's not true, then at least you're in Maya, maybe you're already a demon.
Затова е много важно човек, когато чете, да е много внимателен, да ги разбира правилно книгите, а не просто така литературно само да чете и буквално да приема нещата, които Прабхупада казва, защото в противен случай той може, когато говори с другите, да им казва, че те не разбират нещата и по погрешен начин ги разбират, защото Прабхупада бил казал нещо някъде и затова обвинява хората, че са грешни, даже че са демони.
So I can give you a few examples.
Няколко примера мога да дам.
Krishna, at the age of 7 years, he lifted Govardhan hill.
Кришна на 7 годишна възраст повдига холма Говардана.
So, Giridhari.
Giridhari.
So, what you are? He's speaking, it's a morning, I think it's a lecture, he's speaking to his disciples. So, what do you think you are? Krishna lifted a hill, so what's your position?
И Кришна, и той пита, дава лекция Шрила Прабхупада и казва, пък каква е вашата позиция? Вие какво може да направите?
Yeah. You cannot even raise 5 kilos. So, and you think you are God?
Не можеш да дори 5 кг да вдигнеш, не си мислиш, че си Бог.
So, somebody said, what are you talking about? 5 kilos? That's not true. I can raise 50.
Някой може да каже 5 кг, това не е истина. Аз мога даже 50 да повдигна.
And of course, those who are the weight lifters, they will be very insulted because they will say, our world record is 265 kilos, so 5 kilos, with one finger.
Пък тези, които имат такива състезатели по вдигане на тежести, те могат да кажат, нашия световен рекорд е 265 кг. Какво да говорим за 5 кг?
So, and then somebody may accuse, this person, this Prabhupada, it's a wrong statement.
И някой може да обвини, че тази личност Прабхупада е дал погрешно твърдение.
It's just not a fact.
Което,
even he could raise 5 kilos, I guess.
Което не е факт. Дори и той даже може би не бил в състояние да повдигне 5 кг.
So if you take it literally, you are getting a wrong impression, obviously.
Ако приемаш нещата буквално, ще имаш погрешното разбиране.
You understand? It's very simple, no? Understanding. So another example. I mean, they are very clear examples, I think, but still it makes the point. You know, he says in the lecture, now the United Nations means 3,000 flags, 3,000 nations.
Сега Обединените нации имат 3000 знамена и 3000 нации.
There are no 3,000 flags in front of the United Nations. You can count, eh?
Не са 3000. Можем да ги преброим.
That's 1973, there were 135.
1973 били 135.
Today, there's 195.
Днеска 195.
And you may say, well, maybe one day there will be 3,000. Maybe, but not in 1973 and not in 2023, 50 years later.
Някой може да каже, един ден ще стана 3000, но това не е било по времето на 1973, нито днешно време.
So, wrong statement, right?
Някой може да каже погрешно твърдение.
No, it's hyperbole, making the point there are so many flags, they're supposedly united, but there are so many different nations and they're not united. That's the whole point.
Такава хипербола е, която да покаже, че те са обединили уж толкова много държави, а пък всъщност не са обединени.
And then this within 1 second, he said, you take a lift, in 1 second you go to the top flat in a big building, like a skyscraper building in New York, right? 50, maybe more.
И след малко в лекцията продължава и той казва, ако вземеш асансьора, за една секунда отиваш на последния етаж на 100-етажен небостъргач в Нью Йорк.
So of course it's not 1 second. You don't even go to 1 floor in 1 second. What to speak of 50 to the top floor.
Разбира се, не е за една секунда, дори един етаж не минава за секунда, ако да говорим за последния етаж.
Anyway, so there's other, so many. In India, the washerman, he loads on the poor ass, the denuka, 3 tons. That's 3,000 kilos, No, of course not. Maybe 30, 300, I don't know. Probably the donkey will break down. But not 3,000 for sure. So it's a wrong state. No, it's hyperbole.
В Индия, друго твърдение, магарито, перача, му слага 3 тона. Разбира се, не е 3 тона на него, но това е такава хипербола.
So, as far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone.
Докато имаме материални тела, не можем да направим нищо за никой.
So it's hyperbole in the sense that the point is you may do something, and a similar, actually, where we find a similar statement. We can find this in the 7th canto when Prahlad Maharaj has this verse about parents trying to protect their children and the physician trying to cure a patient. In that purport, Prabhupada speaks about something like that. Let me find this.
Хипербола, подобен смисъл намираме в 7-ма песен, където Прабхупад Махарадж говори, че колкото и да се грижат за децата си и колкото добре доктора да се грижи за пациента, понякога пациента умира и децата също умират, въпреки добрите грижи. Нека да го намерим това.
So this is in the 9th chapter, the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, verse 19.
Молитвите на Прабхупад Махарадж, текст 19.
This is hyperbole in the verse of the Bhagavatam.
Хипербола намираме дори в стиха на Бхагаватам.
Okay, so this is even possible. At least the translation is hyperbole. If we analyze the Sanskrit, but that's how Prabhupada translates it. You have it? 7.9.19. My dear Lord Nisingadeva, O Supreme, because of a bodily conception of life, embodied souls neglect and not cared for by you, cannot do anything for their betterment. Better you have the
Betterment
book,
for the welfare.
Improvement. Yeah, improvement or welfare, yes. Yeah. Because of a bodily conception of life,
заради телесната концепция на живота,
embodied souls neglected and not cared for by you.
Тези, които са въплатени в тела и те пренебрегват и не се грижат за тебе,
Cannot do anything for their betterment.
Нищо не могат да направят добро за тяхно благо.
Oh, this is Bhagavatam. I think you have Chaitanya. Is it?
Bhagavatam?
Is this Bhagavatam?
Yeah.
Oh, look, how does it look? Okay, just from just see illusion.
From the angle.
It looks from this angle looked at like how you say a golden type. So it looked like Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anyway, 7.9.19. So whatever remedies they accept, although perhaps temporarily beneficial, are certainly impermanent.
Каквито и средства да приемат или прилагат, може даже да има и някаква материална временна полза. Това със сигурност тази помощ няма да е постоянна.
For example, a father and mother cannot protect their child.
Например, да дадем един пример. Бащата и майката не могат да протектират своето дете.
A physician and medicine cannot relieve a suffering patient.
Също един доктор и едно лекарство не могат да облегчат страданията на един пациент.
And a boat on the ocean cannot protect a drowning man.
И лодката също в океана не може да даде протекция на давещия се човек.
So in the purport, Prabhupada points out that, these things are there, parents try to care, physicians try to help, and this and that, but there is no guarantee for protection.
В пояснението Шрила Прабхупада казва, че родителите могат да се опитат да се грижат за децата си, доктора може да се опита да се грижи за своя пациент и така нататък, но няма гаранция, че нещата ще вървят гладко.
They may be beneficial for some time.
Може да има някаква временна полза за известно време.
But no permanent benefit.
Но не и постоянна полза или благо.
Despite the presence of father and mother, a child cannot be protected from accidental death, disease, or various other miseries.
Въпреки грижите на родителите, детето не може да бъде протектирано от болести и да.
Yeah. So no one can help, including the parents.
Никой не може да му помогне, в това число даже и родителите.
So in that sense, if we go back to Bharat Maharaj, nobody can do anything for anybody. In that sense, because ultimately you're not in control.
От тази гледна точка, никой не може да направи нищо за никой, защото ти не си този, който държи нещата в контрол.
So therefore, here in this purport, Prabhupada says, unless one is protected by the mercy of the Lord, no remedial measure can act effectively. It's right underneath the Queen Kunti quote. Unless one is protected.
Yes. Докато човек не е протектиран от милостта на Бога, никакви лекарства не могат да действат по правилен начин или да дадат някакъв ефект.
So this is the point of this episode with Maharaj Bharata, that he was just trying to care for the deer on the material platform.
И това е момента с Бхарат Махарадж, той се опитал да се грижи за еленчето на материална платформа.
And even if one can do something, obviously you can give to eat, you can protect from the ferocious animals, as we heard, and you can save it from death. It was floating as a baby on the river. All this is possible, of course. You can do something for the material body. That's the point. Yes, sure.
И дори да можеш да направиш нещо, както той го спасил и после го хранил и го подигал, от материална гледна точка възможно да направиш нещо.
But it is not really beneficial ultimately.
Но в крайна сметка това не дава голяма полза.
And in the case of the deer, even if you try to raise it to spiritual consciousness, it's not possible. So therefore don't waste your time.
В случая с Елена не било възможно той да бъде издигнато на духовно съзнание. Затова по-добре да не си губиш времето.
So in this purport, Prabhupada says, as far as the deer was concerned, Bharat Maharaj became very sympathetic. Good, compassion.
Той, гледна точка към еленчето, той бил много така състрадателен към него.
But he forgot that it was impossible to elevate the deer to spiritual consciousness.
Но той забравил, че е невъзможно да се издигне Елена до духовно съзнание.
But it is an animal.
Защото е животно.
Yeah? You can give to eat, you can protect, you can do this, you can do so many things for the body. Therefore, you cannot do anything for anyone. In that sense, it's not true, of course. But the point is, yes, you may be able to do this, but it's so what?
Защото можеш да му дадеш да яде и така нататък, да му поддържаш материалното тяло, но какво повече?
So the whole point is, the real benefit is, yes, to help somebody develop spiritual consciousness, not just to give some material relief.
Идеята е да се издигне някой до духовно съзнание, а не просто някакво такова материално облегчение.
But to a certain extent, even material relief should be given also. So it's not like, fanatical ideas that we can
Но
also
от една друга гледна
talk
точка,
about.
материално такива облегчения би трябвало да се дава, но това не е просто такова фанатично.
Yeah, it doesn't mean when you see somebody hanging from the tree 10 meters in the air and crying for help, and you have the car next there with the hay, you think, you're not the body, don't, stop crying, just depend on Krishna.
This is your
I'm
karma.
very busy, I have to chant my rounds. I cannot, now stop my chanting and drive this car below because just to save your material body. This is Maya.
Не е така, че този човека си виси отдолу и вика за помощ и ти си наблизо с камиона с ламата, обаче си казваш, аз имам да си мантрувам кръгове. Ти си в Мая нещо там, това ти е материалното тяло просто, няма нужда да го давам отдолу и ти да паднеш на меко. Не, аз си мантрувам кръговите и не ме е грижа нали за.
So this is also hyperbole, huh? What I'm just talking.
Hyperbole, което говоря.
Probably will say, well, who will think like this, Nobody will. This is exaggerated.
Could be.
But that's the point. Could be. We know that it could be.
The fanatism
This is right.
And no limit.
Maybe not in that situation, but in other situations which are not so extreme, very easily one will think like that.
Може би в такава ситуация, това е малко по-преувеличено, няма човек така да постъпи, но в други подобни ситуации със сигурност някой може да постъпи.
Somebody is asking for help,
някой може да помощ.
Seems to be completely material. There's nothing,
От такава гледна точка изглежда материално.
So, who care? Don't care.
Кой го изгрижи?
Don't be on the bodily platform.
Не бъди на материално платформа.
Just chant Hare Krishna and be happy.
Просто си повтаряй Харе Кришна и бъди щастлив.
Anyway, so this is, I think, the point. But this, the conclusion is the last sentence. If we give up our own spiritual activities and simply become concerned with some material comfort to make it our betterment, then that's very dangerous.
Но заключението е много просто. Ако изоставим всичките си материални задължения и се грижим за материалния комфорт, това е опасна ситуация.
So one has to, learn how to discriminate, use one's discrimination.
Човек трябва да се научи как да разграничава.
You don't neglect material necessities because of fanaticism.
Не пренебрегваш материалните необходимости заради фанатизъм.
And you don't neglect spiritual activities also because of a certain kind of, not just fanaticism, but, overly sentimental concern for the welfare of others.
И също обаче, не е така, че заради различни такива чувства и благото на другите, ти пренебрегваш своите духовни задължения.
Yeah, so I think it should be clear. It's actually common sense affair, but we have seen in both areas that people just don't do the right thing.
Би трябвало да е ясно и лесно човек да се направи заключение, но можем да видим практични примери, че и двата примера съществуват.
Is it clear? I think. Yeah. Should be.
Ясно ли?
Yeah. The question is, the sentence is more easy to understand or still doubtful?
Сега по-лесно ли да се разберат тези твърдения или все още има някакви съмнения?
As far as the material body is concerned, we cannot do anything for anyone.
Докато имаме материални тела, няма как да направим нищо за никой.
Then stop eating, you know.
Тогава човек трябва да спре да яде.
No need. You can't do anything for anyone.
Няма
Even for your own body, you cannot do anything.
Няма нужда, не можеш да направиш нищо за никой, дори за твоето тяло не може.
While take care of health, you can't do anything.
Защо да се грижим за здравето? Нищо не можем да направим за никой.
No, that's not the right understanding. Obviously, should be common sense. Cannot be the right understanding.
Това е просто логично, че това не е правилно.
So one has to be very, very careful with literal understandings.
Човек трябва да е много внимателен с буквалното разбиране.
What to do? It would be easy, right? If everything would be like 100% as it is. As it is. Don't speculate.
Ще да е много по-лесно, ако всичко си е 100% такова, каквото е, без да се налага да спекулираме.
Not so easy.
Не е
You
толкова
have to
лесно.
take into consideration other, like, this verse from the 7th canto. That explains things, although even then, if you don't understand, then you may also come to a wrong conclusion.
Както в стиха от 7 песен на Бхагава, там, ако човек го приеме буквално, ще стигне до погрешно заключение.
Alright. Any questions or comments?
Въпроси?
Still any questions? Shouldn't be any questions.
Yes, question.
He has a question. We need, we need somebody to arrange things materially. Otherwise, well, you can't do anything for anyone. Then don't do anything. Then nobody will do anything for anyone.
Имаме нужда някой да върши
Don't
материалните
cook.
неща. И стигайте до погрешните концепции, защото в противен случай никой няма да прави нищо за абсолютно нищо.
Right.
Спасибо, благодаря. Задавам си един следния въпрос. По времето на нашия духовен път на развитие, което е нашето желание, срещаме някои материални затруднения. Примерно да живеем в чиста, комфортна къща, някои от кумшиите, от нашите приятели ни дразни, притеснявани. Как да реагираме при този случай? Те материални затруднения, те материални пречки.
Try to have a spiritual life, but in our neighbor or some friend can disturb us in some way.
Yeah.
И как беше въпросът, как да
пренебрегнем тези притеснения?
How to neglect these anxieties and to continue with them.
I don't really understand, because unless there's an example, every situation is very particular. I mean, how can you give some general, I don't know, give me an example.
Може някакъв пример да ми дадеш, защото има различни примери, с които някой може да...
Живеем в нечиста къща. Живеем в нехигиенична стара къща. Някой кумшиите ни притеснява. Някой красива кумшийка, примерно, иска да контактува с нас. И някой ни дразни с този, който живеем, нали, потискани, притеснявани нещо.
Да, изчакай, защото те станаха няколко примера. One example can be that we have a neighbor which is a lady and disturbing us in somehow.
What is somehow? What does she do?
Throw
her garbage into your garden?
Or other example is we're living with somebody, but he's don't treat us nicely.
Why you're living with somebody like that?
It would be like a relative or...
Yeah, I have a problem. If it's a relative, you may have to tolerate. Otherwise, just leave.
Ако някой ти е роднина и живееш с него, може би ще трябва да го изтърпяваш. Обаче, ако не е роднина, може да си тръгнеш.
No? This kind of situation now, yes, we can give a global answer because I've heard this in many different contexts. You understand? You know, this is always the same thing, basically.
Чувал съм този въпрос в много разновидности, но основата му е една и съща.
So, there's only two choices. You tolerate, or you improve it, you change it, or you go away. Actually three choices.
Имаш три избора. Единия е да нещата по някакъв начин да се подобрят. Другия е...
No, like, you know, first of all, you may just tolerate.
Единия е да изтърпяваш на това, което се случва. Другия нещата да се подобрят, а третия е да се тръгнеш.
If you can tolerate, that solves the problem.
Ако ги търпиш нещата, това също може да е някакъв проблем.
So, then you can try to resolve the issue by making some change, by speaking to the person, coming to an agreement that don't do this to me, don't do that because it's very disturbing, and the person may say, okay, we'll have a deal.
Може да се опиташ с разговор, да говориш с човека и да му обясниш, че моля те, не дей това да ми го причиняваш, защото това ме притеснява. И той може да се съгласи и да каже, добре, имаме сделка.
But sometimes this is not possible.
Но понякога това е невъзможно.
Then you only have two choices. Either you tolerate or you leave.
И тогава имаш два избора само. Да го изтърпяваш или да си тръгнеш.
And sometimes you have to tolerate because leaving is worse.
Понякога ти трябва да си длъжен да изтърпиш това, защото ако си тръгнеш, ще стане по-лошо.
Yeah, you can imagine many situations where that is the case. You know, you just have to suffer. Tolerate means you suffer, but you tolerate. But because the other option, much worse.
As with the family was before like this.
Like that.
They was tolerating because the children will suffer.
That's right.
В много такива случаи има. Просто по-добре е да малко да изтърпиш, защото в противен случай може да стане по-лошо.
If you're on a boat, imagine that.
Ако си на
On the ocean, on the Black Sea,
в океан,
far away from the shore, you know,
далеч от брега,
with one other person who is giving you a hard time.
С още един обаче, който ти причинява така трудни моменти.
So what are you going to do?
Какво ще
You
направиш?
can throw him overboard.
Не можеш да
That's
го
not,
изхвърлиш.
of course, it's possible, but not a very good
Не можеш
choice,
да го
of course.
изхвърлиш от лодката, защото това по принцип може и да е възможно, но не е добрият избор.
You can jump.
Може ти да скочиш.
Probably not a good idea either.
Може и това да не е добра идея.
So then you have to tolerate.
Трябва
Or you come to some agreement.
или да стигнете до някакво споразумение.
Basically, that's how it is.
Така работи.
Yeah.
Сега,
So every situation,
yeah,
every situation you have to see what can I do? Can I tolerate? No. Then what can I do? Can I leave? Well, is it worse to leave than to tolerate? Probably then I have to tolerate, even though I suffer like anything. And
Трябва винаги да прецениш. Кое е по-добре? Да напусна или да остана. Но в двата случая ще има нещо, ще трябва да го изтърпявам. Но трябва да анализираме, да видим кой е по-добрия вариант. Винаги ще има някакви страдания, но понякога, ако тръгнеш, има още повече страдания.
sometimes then the suffering becomes too extreme, too extensive. You leave anyway, then just God, please help me, you know, but I cannot stand it anymore. Now, whatever will happen, will happen.
Понякога може да е страданието такова изключително голямо и тогава човек какво може да направи? Може да се помоли на Бога. Аз не мога повече, каквото ще става, да става.
I mean, good example is refugees.
Има такъв добър пример с иммигрантите.
Not immigrant, no, refugee. It's very different.
Бегалци.
Yes. Immigrant is voluntary.
Иммигрантите, те иммигрират по собствено.
Refugee means you feel forced, either in Syria or now in some other African country. They just had a coup. You know, people have to leave because otherwise it's like tomorrow you can be shot.
Бегалците те са принудени да бягат, защото ти трябва да се тръгнеш, защото в противен случай на другия ден можеш да бъдеш застрелян.
South America, you know this area? It's the Darien jungle. It's between, I think, is it Peru or Bolivia, and then what comes in Central America. You have to very dangerous. I mean, you know, many people die, but they do it because they want to escape their intolerable situation with children and everything. And there's gangs and there's this. I mean, you cannot even imagine. It's like the worst thing that's in the world, in one sense. I mean, you have to go hundreds of kilometers walking through a jungle, but you want to escape that situation.
Така, в Южна Америка такава джунгла, в която много опасно, много хора ги убиват там и всякакви неприятни неща, дори не можем да си представим. Това е може би най-опасното място в целия свят. Обаче хората, те минават през тази джунгла. Защо? Защото искат да отидат на по-хубаво място.
It's called the Darien Gap, one of the world's most dangerous place. Darien Gap.
Някаква местност с това име, едно от най-опасните места в целия свят.
It's between Panama and Colombia, something like that.
Панама и Колумбия.
Yeah. So, you know, why somebody will take that risk? I mean, practically you have a risk of dying like at least 50%.
Защо човек ще приема такъв риск, на смъртоносен риск? 50% от хората на практика умират там.
So, because, you know, this is much worse where you are living than even the possibility to die.
Защото мястото, където ти живееш, е по-лошо даже, дори от възможността да бъдеш убит. Да.
But not everybody goes, so some people tolerate and they suffer.
Но не всички минават през това място. Някои просто изтърпяват и се страдат там.
Still people live in Syria. Not everybody leaves. Many have left.
Все още има хора, които живеят в Сирия. Не всички са напуснали.
In Ukraine, still people are there. Many have left. Who millions practically.
Милиони напуснаха.
So that's life, material world.
Такъв е живот в материалния свят.
There's not a place. It's not Dukhalayam. Not Sukhalayam. We want to make it Sukhalayam, place of happiness.
Ние искаме да си го направим място, което е пълно с щастие.
That's all we try to do, right? That's all we try to do. The whole humanity, it's on the same goal. That's the same goal. Make this place Sukhalayam.
Цялото човечество има тази цел, да направим това място Сукхалем, или място на щастие.
Sukha means pleasure. And Krishna says, sorry, not possible. I designed it to be Dukhalayam.
И искаме да си го направим щастливо. Но Кришна каза, съжалявам, това място е Дукхалем.
Of course, we then complain. Why have you done it like this? Because you are all good, therefore you don't exist. That's one of the main arguments of atheists.
И след това основният аргумент на атеистите е, ако Бога е все добър, защо тогава ще прави такова място, което ще съществува, ще е място на страдание.
Right? God is all good, so why does he create a place which is full of suffering? Doesn't make sense.
Ако Бога е все добър, защо ще прави такова място, което е пълно със страдание?
Yeah. But that's a whole different topic. We'll not
Това
get
е
into.
цяла друга тема.
Okay. Anything else?
What this means to, unless one has the mercy of the Lord, he can, there was a statement.
Yes. Yeah. That's from Prahlad's. Well, it means that ultimately we are not in control. We can try our best to achieve something, but unless it's called the visto bueno, the good. How you say?
Man propose.
Yeah, right. That's the same thing. Now the English for visto bueno. Maybe I can try to translate that. There's always a way to express these things, you know. Let's see. Visto. It means, no, they don't translate it correctly. It doesn't make any sense. It's like approval. Approval.
Yes. Като одобрение.
Yeah, you may try to get, but unless it's approved, there will be no result.
Можеш да се опитваш толкова много неща, но докато няма разрешение, няма да има резултат.
Well, that's the understanding of the devotee. The non-devotee, of course, will not agree. For them, the idea is, when you try, you really try, you get it. There's no need for any external approval.
Това е разбирането, разбира се, на преднодаден. Не преднодадение, никога не го приема това. Той казва, ако аз се опитам наистина добре, нямам нужда от някой друг така да ми разрешава. Аз се опитам много добре и нещата стават.
Good happens, they call it luck, and if it doesn't work out, it's bad luck. It's not approved or not approved. It's luck or bad luck.
Когато нещата работят, те казват имал късмет, а когато не работят, те казват лош късмет, а не така, че някой му е така благоволил или дал разрешение.
If we go to this verse from Prahlad Maharaj, a very good example is this a diseased person. Somebody has a disease, maybe even a very dangerous disease. Or even a normal disease, any disease.
Ако влезнем пример с Пралад Махарадж, тук, който той дава, да кажем, че някой има някаква болест.
Now, according to our philosophy, materialistic philosophy, because we know the cure, if we just apply it, or we do our operation as we know, we have done it 100,000 times, and it always works out. If we just do it, this patient will live.
От наша гледна точка да кажем, че има операция, извърши се операцията и правим 100 пъти сме я правили и знаем, че пациентът ще живее.
But sometimes it happens, maybe not all the time, but sometimes it happens. It was a very simple operation. We had done it hundreds and thousands of times, always okay. Or a simple disease, certain medicine cured, but in this case, the patient died.
И обикновена операция не е сложна, хиляди пъти е правена. Или пък в някакъв случай се дава някакво лекарство, което винаги е помагало, но в определен случай пациента някаква малка операция, но умира.
So why? Well, bad luck.
Защо? Някой казва лош късмет.
No. Bad luck. There's no other reason really.
Лош късмет.
Or some will say, well, destiny.
Някой може да каже, това е моя съдбата била така.
Kismet. You know this word? I mean, they have it's some idea that there were, or even predetermined, predestination, that's another philosophy.
Има други хора, които казват, че такова било предопределено, има такава философия.
Of course, we may say karma.
Някой може да каже, ние може да кажем карма.
But ultimately, according to that verse of Prahlad, it means, if there's not the mercy of the Lord, you may try whatever you try, you think it's very easy, but it will not work.
Но според тези стихове, ти можеш да се опиташ да направиш каквото желаеш, но ако няма милостта на Бога, нещата няма да проработят.
That's at least the way it is explained.
Това е начинът, по който е било обяснено.
Yeah, we should understand that we cannot control ultimately things. It's not possible.
Трябва да разберем, че в крайна сметка нямаме контрол над нещата.
Like even simple fact as rain nowadays, it's really considered, I mean, many times they go to the church and the priest will do something, some prayer, so it may rain, because it doesn't depend on you, it depends on some higher authority, some approval.
Много пъти отиват в църквата и се молят за дъжд, защото това не зависи от нас, а зависи от по-висш авторитет.
I mean, I don't know what they do in Afghanistan, but they may not be praying enough with no rain for years.
Не знам в Афганистан какво правят. Може би не се молят достатъчно, защото от години няма дъжд.
Anyways. Okay. Can we stop here? What does that mean?
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for
Yes.
your first class lecture.
I know.
In supporting your support.
Thank you. Finally, you recognize me.
Your authority, your my authority.
I know.
Thank you. And in your support, we say in Brahma Samhita, is first class thinking about your representation. And what say in Vedas, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. When we, in this human form, we must realize souls for spiritual. We must ask for spiritual. And this is very important form, human form. They say the tiger eat meat, why not? But human form is for self-realization.
That's right. That's why in the purport Prabhupada says, unless one acts like that, then just to help on the material platform is useless. Which is also hyperbole. Useless? Why useless? There's some use, yes, but it's really, in that sense, it's useless. So anyway, we have to understand things correctly, otherwise we'll become, misled, have a wrong understanding. So hyperbole is always taken into consideration. All right, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Sri Gauri Sai Gauravani Vrinda ki jai, Hare Krishna.